guys, it's Appleminte. Welcome back to my channel and happy Friday. Hope that your week is going well. I'm just ready for the weekend. Honestly, this week was a really busy week for me. I just want to give a little disclaimer that all of my backpacks and everything from my Kickstarter arrived last week, and I have a huge amount of bags to go through, like over 1,000 and about like 900 orders to fulfill from the Kickstarter. So that is why I didn't make a video last week, and if I ever skip a week, that is probably why within this next month or so. But I just wanted to let you guys know what's going on in my life, because there is just a lot to go through, and I'm just one person. So you know, as much as I have Pepper here with me, he unfortunately cannot use his paws to help me pack orders. So in today's video, I want to show off an art piece that I've been working on and off for the past few weeks. I actually started this, I think, I don't know, like 3 or 4 weeks ago. I had like a lot of inspiration and motivation to do it, and then I don't know, I fell off from it somehow. I had the sketch done, and I think it was the line art phase that I was just like, ugh, I don't feel like drawing this all over again. And line art, if you guys have been following me for a while, you know line art is not my favorite part of the process, but it is a necessary part, at least the way I draw, so I had to do it. But I revisited it this week, and I really wanted this drawing to be for a video, but I just, like I said, I couldn't bring myself to do the line art a few weeks ago. But I'm glad I picked it back up because I really like the way this piece ended up turning out, so I'm really excited to share it with you guys today. A little bit about, I guess, the main idea I had behind this piece was that I have started playing Final Fantasy XIV about a month and a half ago, and my main character that I play right now is an astrologian. They use a weapon that is basically a star globe that floats above their hand. So this character is not an astrologian, but it was just inspired by the idea of having something space themed, I guess in the palm of your hand floating. But I also wanted to make a really cutesy character, and I guess practice a pose that was a little less stiff, because I feel like sometimes in my artwork, when I'm sketching or whatever it may be, some of my art feels a little stiff to me, or I guess when I'm drawing poses or practicing anatomy, and like some of it just feels stiff, and you know, I'm not afraid to admit that. So I want to get better at that, and so I wanted to draw a pose that felt a little looser. So I did that here by kind of pulling her body upward, if that makes sense. So like her chest is a little bit more up, and the front of her body there on the left side is like a little straighter, and her hips are up. So, and you know, I don't know if I'm explaining this correctly, but you can see how she's standing. She's a little more poised on her feet rather than hunching over. And I changed the arms a few times because I wasn't sure at first how I wanted her to be standing, but I felt like the arm on the left side, her right arm, just being straight down was a little too plain and a little too boring, and it made her look a little stiff. So by having her arms up, I kind of felt it gave her a more cutesy stance. So this is one of those drawings that evolved from not much of an idea. I guess it was like I knew I wanted to make a looser pose, and I wanted something cutesy, space themed. So from there, when I was doing the color placement and sketching and planning, I guess I decided that I wanted to use pastels, and from there came up with the hair color. So again, yeah, one of these pieces where I didn't really go in with a harsh idea of what I wanted. And I feel like I've said this before, but like when I feel like my doodles and my sketches that, you know, built into a drawing always turn out better, or I always end up liking them more than the drawings I do that I go in with a specific idea of what I want. Maybe that's because having a specific idea, you kind of have an image in your head of what you already want it to look like, and when it doesn't look like that, you kind of give up on it, or you feel like it's not as good. I feel like I get that a lot, so maybe that's the reason why I find my doodles turn out better when they're finished, because I didn't have any kind of expectation going in, and if they turn out looking good, they turn out looking good, and you can kind of be more free with them because you're not trying to make it look a certain way. And they also just are more fun, in my opinion, because they just evolve over time. I didn't have any ideas for this really starting off, other than some vague concepts. So as I was going, I was figuring out the colors, and then I was figuring out the outfit, and I changed it a few times. And I ended up really liking what I came up with. I think that I changed her mouth a few times too, which, just changes her expression overall. At first I had her smiling, but then I decided I wanted her to be more just as if she's kind of explaining something to you. Like she's like, well, let me tell you about the art of cosmic space control. I don't know what I'm saying, but you get what I'm trying to say here. I feel like her pose, her mouth, and her facial expression changed the air of the photo or the drawing a lot. Oh, and also for this one, I want to zoom in a little bit more while I'm coloring on certain areas, just so you can see a little bit more of the details, because I feel like sometimes I forget to zoom in on some of these digital videos, and I want you guys to be able to see what I'm doing in a little bit more detail. So I will be going in and out of different areas of the drawing so you guys can see it a little bit better. But right, so as I was saying, this built up over time. Something I always used to think when I was younger was that I could never be an artist in any way unless I knew how to draw backgrounds or a lot of objects or whatever, unless I knew how to draw everything. And while it's true that knowing how to draw a lot of different things definitely makes you a better artist overall in terms of just having more versatility and being able to do a lot more, I don't think that that's what makes you an artist. And I try to draw backgrounds. I try to challenge myself and draw items and different things and animals. So I'm doing that, I guess, more at my pace rather than feeling like pressured that I need to be doing that to be good, and just letting myself enjoy improving my anatomy and my pieces overall with my character designs, because that's something that gives me joy. And so I guess this little ramble is just me saying that I've realized over time I don't need to put as much pressure on myself to be really good at everything. It is valid to be good at a lot of different things in art, but you can improve slowly over time. You don't need to focus on all that at once. I just really love designing characters or making cutesy people and things like that. It gives me lots of joy. So back to this one though. The color palette, I really, really ended up liking how it came out in the end. If you can notice, I played a little bit more with gradients here. So in her hair, you'll see that the base of each of her pigtails has a little bit of a darker brown gradient fading outward. And the same goes for the bottom of her overalls being dark blue going up, and the edges of her sleeves. So I put like a darker pink, and it's very subtle, but recently I've been trying to add a little bit more gradients subtly, maybe into the skin or into different areas. And I find that I really like it's such a subtle, small addition, but like these little details add a lot. And you guys know I've been trying to improve my digital art this past year or two, and it's been a slow process, but I'm happy with the progress that I've been making, and it's been teaching me a lot about just different little techniques you can do to make things look more interesting. Like for this one, like I said, the gradients, there's such a small detail, but like adding and mixing them in with cell shading or whatever kind of shading you like to do is good. And also just shading in other colors, like on the sleeves you'll see I did not shade with the darker pink, but instead of purple, because I wanted to keep the purples, blues, and pinks throughout the piece. I wanted purple to be in here, but you'll notice that there's really only purple in her eyes a little bit. So I also shaded the shoes with purple, and I shaded the socks with like a grayish purple. So I used a lot of purple in here to shade, I guess is what I'm saying. And by the end of this, I decided that I wanted to add a little background, which I will get to in a little bit, but I wanted this to be her in space, and so I added more of a purplish and bluish filter over everything, and then went from there. So that's something I always love doing in a piece. Like at the end, when you get to add like a filter to it and change the colors a bit and everything, that is always really exciting. So I'm going to be about to get into that. And then I refined the stars that are floating above her hand because they were a little sketchy and messy still. I realized I hadn't gotten to that and I just kind of ignored it. But another thing I was really excited to do was to add the glow. So you'll see me doing all of that right now, like playing around with different lighting and different things, but just something to make it a little more interesting. But anyway, as we near the end of the piece, I just, as always, want to thank you guys for watching and supporting me. My online store is actually back open now. It was closed for the past month after the holidays, but it's open. And if you use the code WELCOME10, you get 10% off everything in the store. So go check that out at www.appleminte.com. And as always, I have all my other links in the description below, my Instagram, Discord server, and Patreon pin club. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern time, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Bye-bye!